The biggest customizable thing in Xenoblade 1 combat is the art that you can give. And, well, there is a lot of them compared to, like, Xenoblade 2, kind of. I mean, I'm sure if you add up all the numbers, maybe Xenoblade 2 has more, with every single character having that many. Except, like, maybe Rex has, like, the slight edge, because, he has Aegis Sword, and no one else can have the Aegis Sword class. So, I guess that. But I want to give every character from Xenoblade 1, every playable character, even the ones that are around for one fight, just one new art that I feel like could really change up their game plan and maybe, change how they play and how things work with them. So let's get going. And obviously, this is all hypothetical. It's not like we're gonna get Xenoblade Definitive Edition, where they actually add these, which, if that's the case, then wow, I called it. Now let's start off with Shulk. I want to give him something that, ties into him being like a researcher. Because, with Rex, he has Anchor Shot, which ties into him salvaging. And how Van Damme even talks about in Chapter 3 that, you don't have to just use all your Blades abilities, you can use the abilities that you have. So, I want to do that for Shulk. And for this hypothetical art, I don't really have a name, we can just call it, like, maybe something Researcher's Wisdom, or, Researcher's Foresight, I don't know. Actually, no, that doesn't make sense, because, Vision. I mean, you could, whatever you ever want to call it, just like Researcher's, yeah, we'll just go with Wisdom. I don't know why I struggled there. But this idea is that it only works on enemies. It's like maybe you could say an aura. I guess that's the best way to put it in like Xenoblade 1 combat standards. But like if the enemy has like buffs, any buffs, you take those buffs and you can apply them to yourself. And Shulk can do that. And I kind of want to extend that a little farther with a Soul Read. Even though, is Soul Read kind of a buff? Maybe it kind of is, like more of like a aura, I don't know how to describe it, but this would help counteract Soul Read, because like one of the biggest problems with Xenoblade 1 combat is Telepia and Soul Read, and if you have no talent art to use Mana Purge, you can't get it, and Soul Read, makes enemy, or not enemy, just Telepia, basically invincible, all your attacks just go right through them. So if having this art, I feel like could counteract them, but it always hits, but it like takes their abilities and then gives you Soul Read at least, so you can like still attack them with auto attacks and all that, and build up talent gauge to use Banana Purge, which will allow, everyone else to attack them. I don't know how long this would last, just like, maybe, I don't know, at max level, like 20 seconds or something, to give you enough. I feel like 20 seconds with Shulk's auto attack, you could build you up the talent gauge, and plus Battle Soul, so I feel like this mainly art existing would also just helps as narratively, it makes sense, and also just to counteract Soul Read, because Soul Read is really stupid. And since we're here with Shulk, might as well, let's come up with a hypothetical, like, new Minato art. Why not something like, another healing-based art? I know I'm giving Shulk just a bunch of status arts, but, I mean, it kind of makes sense, he's a researcher, maybe all status-y, come with all these, like, ideas, but, like, maybe, I don't know, like, Minato, Recover or something. I know it's a stupid name, I feel like I could come up with something more unique sounding or cool sounding, but like maybe Minato Recover is basically could give the entire party like a HP auto gain or something, where they just gain HP over time and it could last like like I don't know how long, and they would have to come up with a set rate, maybe like basically just a stronger version, I would say, of Summon Aqua. I feel that'd be pretty good, and they would probably take up maybe like a medium amount, actually no, probably large amount of the talent gauge, because it heals everyone and it's overtime. Yeah, could be nice, because like you can only use light heal once, and what if you need to heal two people and like you don't have Charlotte? I mean, you don't have to have this Minato art in, like, because you can always just swap it out with like something better. So this is just more options that you can have, because that's the biggest thing. I want to give these people more options. Now let's move on to Ryan. Ryan already has like kind of ways to heal with like he has Last Stand basically, which Last Stand is pretty stupid, like, oh, I'm about to die, no, I'll use Last Stand and just be instantly revived, which, yeah, that's an art, that's a fun art, very busted, kind of just destroys the point of visions a little bit, but okay. But maybe to counteract that, let's give like Ryan kind of something similar to crit healing, or like I can't remember the art name in Xenoblade 2. We can call it like, I don't know, Vampiric Crush or something. Oh, I came up with that. And basically it's an attacking art that, based on the damage it does, it heals only Ryan. So you could give him another healing art if you need to. I know I've given just 2 healing arts back to back, but like, I know it's stupid, because like, we literally have a healing character, and we'll move on to her now. And her biggest flaw in combat is cool off, because cool off is stupid. So I tried to come up with an idea that would like get rid of cool off. Yeah, this art just gets rid of your talent art. That'd make Charlotte like, somewhat usable. But no, to kind of keep in mind, I would love just to get rid of her talent art if I could, but giving everyone a new art. How about like heat shield? And if you use it, it will have a long cooldown afterward. But if you use it, it lets Charlotte fill up the talent gauge once, but not having to wait to refill it again. It will just go back to the square one. But this also applies if like you overfill it, then it will still apply to the second gauge. So if you're about to fill it up and use an art that he uses a large amount, the rest of that wasn't used to fill up the gauge will still be applied to the second gauge. So I feel like that could help out. Also, could help out her aura that she has, because when she has to like cool off, she loses the aura and like stat boost. So this art I feel like could help with that if she had any. And okay, that's done with Charlotte. And I feel so bad that I just skipped over Fiora. Like, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Fiora. But I'm kind of stealing an art name, but I'm not going to steal like the effect from Xenoblade 2, because she's a blade in Xenoblade 2 for like haha fun fan service. It's called Soothing Breeze, but I'm going to change what it does, because in Soothing Breeze it's just a party-wide heal, which we've already had that done healing arts. I mean, if you want that, you can do that. But how about instead it's an aura that gives her a haste buff. And if you're feeling really nice, maybe you could do a haste buff to everyone around her if they're close, but maybe just not as strong. And I feel like that would just be a nice art, because like, at the start of the game, Fiora does not have a lot of art. So at least giving her something, if players, got her up a little higher, then they have another little art just to mess around with. And I feel like, it'd be pretty good, early on, because like there's nothing early on that gives you haste, so why not give it to her? I guess we can also get the other characters that are like Fiora. I mean, not as much playtime as her. Heck, they're not even, like, playable. So let's just give them new arts. Momcar. Now, this is kind of pointless, because, like, you don't really get I don't think, do you get to see his art? I think you do, like, in the menus or whatever. But how about we give him an aura, and we can call it, like, Coward's Antics or something. And it could basically be like a Ricky's Play Dead, where like they lose all aggro or something. Actually, no, it's not really an aura. Actually, it could make it like that. They lose all aggro, and they can't get aggro for like a short period of time. I mean, it doesn't matter, because he only gets to use it in that one fight. I don't even know why I threw Momcar in this. I mean, sure, why not? Just, there you go, there's his one art. Now moving on to Alvis. Alvis's arts are kind of just funny, where it's like, I can't remember the name, but like one's like a strong sword attack, and the other one's a really strong sword attack. So, okay, that's cool, I guess. And maybe just to make that fight a little more easier, you can give him like a status that gives like people talent gauge. So if Shulk's running low on talent gauge, because that's and I guess for his art, because he's only using that one fight, you can give him, I can't think of a name, like, we can call it, like, I don't know, talent tactics, and what it does will fill out the talent gauge for only to Shulk. It's just to make that fight a little easier, just in case, you don't have what I call it Researcher's Wisdom, or, Battle Soul. It's just to make that, fight easier, because it's the Telepia fight, and, Monado Purge, you need to use that, and that fight's tutorial. So just make it go a lot quicker, because I think one of my playthroughs, I just kind of sat there for a little bit, because I used just like, oh yeah, I'm using Monado Buster, fun! And I'm like, oh wait a minute, why'd I do that? And I just had to wait a little bit just to get up that. So I feel like having that just to make that fight a little quicker could help out. Alright, we've covered those like 3 characters that only are around for, they're like one fight, unless you're Fiora, who's around for, a few hours. Fiora's art is definitely going to be more useful, and Alvis just is, helps you for that one fight, and then Momcar's is just basically useless. I don't even know why I included him. Oh wait, no, speaking of Momcar, I can't believe it, I forgot Dixon. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Dixon. You get at least to be using 2 fights. So, let's give you an art. Oh, this is kind of a cop-out, but let's give Dixon also, whatever I called it, Researcher's Wisdom, because, narratively it makes sense. he did a little research on the Monado and, you know, entrusted Shulk to do that, so I feel like that makes sense. I know it's kind of a cop-out. If you don't want that, then we can call it, his new art could be something like smoke grenade or something, and like he just throws down a grenade or something, or it's his cigar, and just he loses all immediate aggro. Why not? It doesn't matter. He's only used for 2 fights. These ones are not going to be that interesting. The only one that's like kind of useful is Alvis, and I'm not going to really count Fiora because she's at least used for a lot more fights. Okay, so we're finally done with those kinds of characters. I'm so sorry, Dixon, that I forgot you. So let's move on. Now, this one's kind of a meme art name. I thought of, let's call it, for Dunban. I don't know if I said that. We'll call it Stoic Strike, if you know where I got Stoic from. And what it could do, maybe, is, you know how Dunban's like an evasion tank? Well, maybe we can use that evasion instead as an attack. So like this attack will take in his agility at the damage, and maybe to give it a little bit more of a boost, it catches enemies off guard, so like it can go through a little bit more of the defense or something. Kind of like, you know how Senna's like class descriptions, like she hits the enemy so hard that it goes through defenses. But like, you know, Dunban hits them so fast that it goes through defenses. Why not? That could make sense. Now, this one kinda is more of a meme pick as well, but more in line with Xenoblade like memes. So you know the post-battle quote with Ricky says, "Mighty Ricky, also amazing with gun." Yeah, let's give him a gun art, and I feel like you can just call it Mighty Ricky's gun, Mighty Ricky Assault or something, and have this art do like insane amounts of damage, but it's AoE and can hit the party as well. I feel like that would just be really funny, and Ricky's just going ham, but he just doesn't pay attention to his party. So I feel like, you know, that's just really good. And I guess since we talked about Ricky, we can, you know, include Kino and Nene as well. And I just don't want to give him like, alright, let's give him like the Ryan art that I just gave and the Charlotte one, and just give him like a funnier name sounding one. I want to give them something more in line with them. Now, I might be misremembering for this, but I think in Tyrea's and Melia's heart-to-heart, or sorry, quiet moment, Nene talks about giving them like a spanking. It could be Kino's, but what if she has an art called, like, I don't know, Sister Pawn Spanking, and it's like a multi-hitting attack that like lowers defense or something. And I feel like the animation on that would just be really funny. I haven't really talked about animations or like that part. I feel like I just kind of try to explain it, so I hope my explanation and like the name itself kind of gives it what it hypothetically look like. At least I can picture it in my head. I can't animate, and you know, hopefully my dumb names can like help people picture like, oh yeah, that could work. Now with Kino, I kind of want to be in line how he wants to like be like Ricky. And when you first meet him, the reason he's using like a gun is because it's the weapons like that Ricky would use are way too heavy for him. So what if like he uses the gun as like he beats the enemy with it? Like I don't know, like you could call it. Actually, this is kind of could be a nod, because Xenoblade loves to, you know, nod arts with other games, because like, you know, even like Xenoblade 2, there's like nods to like Xenoblade 1 arts. And like, you know, same with Xenoblade X, and like 3's also having nods to past games. So maybe for this part, this is kind of a call out. I mean, then again, all my names are just kind of bad. They sound like more of like ability names rather than like art names. Like I'm kind of trying, this is more kind of off the top of my head. I just had like the ideas of what the art would do written down. So I'm sorry, but like for this, you could call it like Jet Biter for this art. And you know, it's a nod to, you know, Tora and like Poppy's art. And he could just use like his gun as like to beat the enemy. And like the reason I say Jet Biter is like, oh, the gun like where you shoot is like the Jet Biter. It's kind of doesn't make sense, but I kind of like what it's supposed to represent, because like, you know, he's trying to be like his dad. Oh, I just realized I haven't given Mecha Fiora a new art, so we should probably give her one. And we could just say, oh, she carries over the same art over, but I feel like that's also pretty lazy. And like none of the arts that she has before, like that whole thing, get carried over to her Mechon body, so I feel like we should give her something a little more unique. So, one of the coolest things about, you know, Mecha Fiora is that her talent art changes depending on what her like defeat, or like what her the drones equipment are. So like she has like gun drones, sword drones, and like all those like different types of attacks. And I was thinking kind of something along like the bat. That'd be kind of cool. Because like some of those talent arts use like her strength as an attack or ether. And also she has other arts that use ether as like the attacking rather than attack. But it's more optimal to use her with strength builds because she has way more arts that, use that. So what if, for this art, we can call it like, I don't know, elemental change or something, which I think is kind of misleading because you think she's changing element, but no. So for this art, it would have all physical based arts like, double blade and all that would do ether damage instead of physical damage, while all ether based arts would do physical damage rather than ether. And for this art, I feel like you could make it an aura, so it lasts a certain amount of time, or it could be an art that's always active. You just have to reuse it to switch back, which maybe that would be kind of interesting. You just choose which mode you want, because there are, certain times you want to just use strictly ether, because, ether goes through Mechon, and you don't need Mana Purge, or not Mana Purge, you don't need Mana Enchant to, go through that. So I feel like that would be really interesting, and also give, like, her ether arts. Maybe they'd be better if they were physical, or, giving certain scenarios where you want her to have a high ether stat. I feel like that'd be, really cool and interesting. And of course, I'm gonna end this off with my girl. Save the best for last. So Melia summons basically have every element covered. Fire, water, wind, ice, bolt. So like, there's not really other elements I could do for a summon, except for like, if you want to, we can go like Edgelord and like, dark, summon dark or something, or summon light if you want to do that. Maybe we can go with summon light because like she already has an art called Shadow Stitch, and I was gonna say, oh yeah, we'll call it summon shadows, but like she already has an art called Shadow Stitch, so like we can call it I don't know, summon shine. Now what this summon would do is kind of similar to the Ox Core effect that Xenoblade 2 has. It's a affinity max barrier, and that would be applied to your whole party, and like it would be like percentage based off like the character's health. So like it wouldn't be based off Melia's, because if Melia's health had the lowest amount of the party, it would be off of the character who is applying it to. And for the discharge, I feel like we can make this a little interesting, is based on how much HP is left on the shield for everyone determines how strong the attack is. Also, factor in like, Melia's ether stack, so go off her ether plus like this effect as the HP barriers as well. And as a bonus effect, I feel like this would be interesting. It lowers the enemy's attack frequency, so they can't attack as much, because I feel like, summon shine, it'd be too bright for them, so they have to like, recuperate and like already get back into the fight. I feel like that could be, a really fun effect. And that's everyone. Now, a lot of these are, I feel like, going to be overpowered, like, summon shine. I feel like that'd be insane, especially with the whole HP barrier concept, that if you immediately use it, and the enemy just can't attack frequency that much. So yeah, a lot of these are overpowered. I feel like the Shulk one is kind of, cool. It'd be helpful against Telepia, but like, maybe not that insanely useful outside of that. And a lot of the art names I came up with kind of sound like, like more of ability names, like Researcher's Wisdom. That sounds like more of like an ability name rather than an art. But this was just, fun hypothetical thing to do. And hopefully giving, if this, came true, giving characters, more tools to mess around with to make them maybe play differently. I feel like a lot of them really don't. But like, I tried. I wanted to, have fun with this.